Just compute. Perfect. All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to part 2 of the From the Student Section podcast. We left off finishing off talking about week 1, and now we're going to move into talking about the rankings post week 1. New AP poll did drop, and then we're going to talk about week 2, make some predictions, and then we'll bounce out of here. So as you can see, AP top 25 back out. Not a whole lot of huge changes in here, really. There's the teams that made their big jumps, which we'll talk about. But I mean, Alabama staying in number 1. Do they deserve it beating Utah State? Probably not, but they were number 1 to start. They're going to stay there. Georgia and Ohio State flipped. I think that makes a lot of sense. Georgia beat Oregon 49-3. And then, of course, Ohio State beat Notre Dame 21-10. Who had the better performance? Georgia. Do they deserve that number 2 spot over Ohio State? In my opinion, absolutely. The big surprise here for me, I think, is Michigan jumping 4 spots all the way to number 4. That's a big surprise for me, because if you think about it, Michigan, Clemson, A&M, and Oklahoma really all just played kind of crap teams. The only team that played anybody decent was Clemson, who played a conference opponent in Georgia Tech. So I don't necessarily understand what the jump from Michigan was. Maybe it was just how well they performed and how good they looked that gave them something to look at and told them, man, Michigan should be higher. But, I mean, 2 SEC teams, 2 Big Ten teams, and then kind of everybody else. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that at all.
One thing I'm looking at is the 12 and 13. You got Florida and you got Utah.
Florida making a jump from unranked all the way to number 12 is insane. It's got to be one of the bigger jumps of all time. And that's a testament to how good Florida looked, how good they looked under Anthony Richardson. And yeah, they have to be ranked above Utah because obviously they won. That would look weird to have Utah ranked over Florida. But that's probably your big jump. And then Notre Dame only dropping 3 spots. For me, I think, I don't have any real objection to that. I mean, they played Ohio State and lost. They played the number 2 team and lost. If they had played, like Kentucky and lost, I'd expect a bigger drop from them. But, they're still there. We'll see what happens next week with them. But yeah, props to Florida as well.
Yeah. I mean, you got Michigan State. They're up 1 spot. Miami's up 1 spot. Arkansas's up 3. NC State's down 5. Wisconsin's down 1. I mean, I don't really have any major issues with those.
USC jumping 4 spots to 10 puts them as the new favorite as the new highest ranked team from the Pac-12 up there. Just a couple spots above Utah. Arkansas making a 3-spot jump. Great for them. They had a great performance against Cincinnati. It's like I said.
Tennessee in there at 24.
They did put Tennessee in there at 24. We'll see how long that lasts. I don't think Tennessee's that good. But that NC State drop 5, even with a win, is a testament to how poorly they played because they only beat East Carolina by 1 point. They beat East Carolina by 1 point. They struggled against that team. I think that shows that NC State is not a contender for the playoff, at least right now. They're going to need to see a lot more performance from them. That's my take on them.
Yep.
You see Oregon there still receiving some votes. Number 1 in votes, Penn State getting some votes with that win at Purdue. Big win for them. Texas, Cincinnati, Florida State getting some votes there. We're going to be interesting to watch this. So Oregon dropped out and Cincinnati dropped out. Those were the 2 teams that dropped. Replacing them, of course, Florida at 12 and Tennessee at 24. So interesting, though, the coaches poll still has Oregon in there. And then they still have Clemson above Michigan. Utah dropped 7 for them. And the coaches poll, interestingly enough, did not put Florida back in the rankings. So I think the coaches kind of have
Florida's in there. They're at 19.
Oh, thank you. I didn't see them. So definitely didn't put them as high. And I don't know what to think about that. Coaches poll, AP poll, there's all kinds of differences there. I think the coaches poll.
I mean, and they have NC State still at 13.
Yeah.
That surprises me.
I think the one thing you say about the coaches poll is since it is coaches, they understand a lot more of the game and how it works. More than me being in the student section here, me being in the student section, I would know less about the game than they would. So they must have seen something from those teams that makes them want to keep them higher or lower or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just look at the rankings and give you my thoughts on them. I don't I don't attest to be an expert here. I'm not an expert. I'm not an analyst. Frankly, most analysts are wrong most of the time. I mean, almost they just are, you know. But I will say, little piece of news: we got Pat McAfee coming to game day for the entire season. So Pat is going to be awesome. Pat is just amazing. Pat McAfee might be having the most fun of anybody on planet Earth, and it's awesome to watch. He's so great, and he will be an awesome bit of energy. Game day already has great energy, but to see him on there alongside, you know, Dez and Reese and Lee and Kirk is going to be awesome for him. Yeah, but let's move on. We got week 2 coming up here. We got some big games coming up. Not that one. This one. Here we go. Let's start at the top. We're going to start at the top for this one. We're going to be looking at game of the week, noontime, Alabama, Texas. This is game of the week, but I'm going to tell you right now, Alabama's winning. I don't think there's any doubt of that. I don't think I mean, it is in Texas, but again, everybody's like, oh, Texas is back. Texas is going to be good. No, they're not. Even the people who think Texas is good think they're going to lose to Alabama. So I have zero faith in Texas. I think they keep this one close for the first half. I'll give them that. After that, you know, Bryce Young and Alabama take control, win on the road fairly handily. I mean, look at how Georgia handled Oregon. I think Oregon's a better team than Texas. So imagine what Alabama's going to do to Texas. I'm worried for you Texas fans. This is going to be a slaughter, if anything.
Yeah.
I would love to see a slaughter here. I'm tired of Texas fans because most Texas fans are probably Cowboys fans. And that's why they're so annoying. So that's my prediction here. But yeah, Alabama,
You're
Texas.
right.
Any thoughts? Any different thoughts on that?
Nope, nothing else. I'm saying Alabama's taking it pretty handily. I'm going to give them a win by, I'm going to say it 3 or 4 scores, if not more.
Big win for Alabama. I love it. I couldn't give less of a crap about Texas. Let's go. We appreciate Texas slander here until they prove us differently.
All right. Ohio State, easy dub.
I'm going Arkansas State for this one. I think no. Ohio State wins, obviously.
No, this
big
isn't
win
March
from
Madness.
Yes, right. If there's March Madness, Ohio State loses. That much is obvious. South Carolina, Arkansas. I got this one being a really, really underrated game. I think South Carolina keeps this one close throughout. This is going to be a barn burner of a game, I think. I think South Carolina is underrated. I mean, South Carolina's got Spencer Rattler at the helm, which is really, really awesome for them. I see him keeping this one close. I still think, though, with the performance that KJ Jefferson put on last week, I think he keeps the momentum going for Arkansas, and they take this one over South Carolina. Now, if this was at South Carolina, I might be a little bit more hesitant to pick Arkansas so handily, but I don't see Arkansas winning this by more than 1 score. But I do think Arkansas takes care of business here and gets another quality win against South Carolina. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that that Arkansas, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going to give it to Arkansas, probably anywhere between a field goal to maybe 14 points at most. I think to beat the spread.
I think that's fair. Yeah. And I like South Carolina a lot. They're one of those sleeper teams for me. So I think they'll keep this one close. That'll be a fun game to watch. So we got that game at noon. You got Alabama, Texas at noon. You got a lot of big games at noon. Utah gets a rebound. Notre Dame gets a rebound. I can't even sit here and say NC State's going to get a rebound because we don't know what they look like. I mean, I think Charleston Southern, there's a big difference here. I mean, you know, East Carolina has been known to get some decent wins, but, you know, we'll see what happens here. Clemson wins. This is going to be a fun game. I think this could also be an underrated game. Appalachian State at Texas A&M. If you look at what Appalachian State did last week, they lost 63-61 against North Carolina. Probably the game of the week over there. That was a lot of fun. Appalachian State is one of those teams that a lot of people don't think about, and then they just explode out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. People always go back to that game where, you know, they beat Michigan in the Big House. That was years ago. It's a long time, but Appalachian State has a standard of being one of those teams that takes down a giant. So I don't think that happens here. I think Texas A&M takes care of business, but it will be more of a test that I think people will give Appalachian State credit for. And I could see Texas A. I could see this being a one-score game by the end of it. Honestly, it's gonna be a lot
Yeah.
closer. I don't think it will be, but I could see it.
Yeah, I'll same thing, man. I'll give it to you.
We need to stop being on the same page. Then interesting if we're talking all this, if we're doing the same thing. um, Tennessee and Pittsburgh. I'll be honest, I didn't think Pittsburgh was going to win last week, but they did. So Slovis led them to a big win there. Boy, this one's tough. I don't know. I'm going to let you start on this one. I don't know what to think about this game.
Man, I don't know. I mean, it's so hard. I mean, the prediction, matchup predictor is pretty close. I mean, Pittsburgh, they played, a pretty good West Virginia team. I mean, that was an amazing game to watch. Tennessee played a Ball State team. I mean, not very good. They won that pretty handily at home. Now they are playing, at Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing, in a really good environment. Fans are crazy for their Panthers. Oh man. Honestly, I got to go with Pittsburgh on this one. I mean,
okay.
Could I see Tennessee coming in there, taking care of business, and I guess technically it's an upset. I mean, it's 24-17 in rankings. So, I mean, could I see Tennessee come in there pulling out an upset? Of course I could. And could it happen? Yeah. But I mean, my money right now is on Pittsburgh. I think they look really good against West Virginia. This will be Tennessee's first real test. Ball State wasn't much of a test. I think it's the chance for Tennessee to prove themselves. I think if they want to keep moving up in their rankings and keep being considered as a team that's making a resurgence and making a run now, they got to win this game. Yeah. So I think this is a make or break. If they come out with fire, boom, I'm going to give it to Tennessee. But I think right now, because they haven't had a real test yet, I think Pittsburgh is going to come out on their home turf and take care of business. I'm going to give it probably a 7 to maybe 10-point game is my prediction.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with you about Tennessee. Tennessee's one of those, it's the same as like Texas. Oh, we're back. Tennessee's back. We're going to be good. I need to see some proof. I got to see some proof. For me, I will probably pick Pittsburgh to win this game, but this will also be, we're comparing Tennessee and Texas here. Texas will be the team that loses. I could see Tennessee being the team that wins here in this scenario. Again, I'm picking Pittsburgh at home, but again, this is the big toss-up of the week, and this could go either way. I'm picking Pittsburgh, but if Tennessee wins, props to them. I could see that as well. No issues there. Wisconsin, Washington State, another game that'll probably be a little bit underrated, but I got Wisconsin winning this one. Washington State will show up and play well, but I think Wisconsin takes care of business at home again. Yep,
it's at Camp Randall Stadium. Great place to play, great atmosphere. I'll take Wisconsin as well.
Georgia, Stanford. I'm not going to ask you to pick who wins. I'm going to ask the margin of victory. I think Georgia wins by at least 49. So, I mean,
I'm going to say at least 52.
I like it. Akron and Michigan State. Again, if Peyton Thorne comes out and plays like he did last week, Michigan State takes care of business here. I think Peyton Thorne could play like crap and Michigan State take care of business here. It's just me. I think they'll rebound after not looking great last week, but still looking just fine, taking care of Western Michigan. I think they'll come out, Akron, excuse me. I'm sorry. And yeah, not much to debate there. We're going to skip ahead a little bit. This is going to be a fun one. Kentucky, Florida.
Yes, it will.
This is going to be a fun one. Now,
2 ranked teams.
This one's really tough for me. This one's really tough. I didn't know this was a matchup until now. This one is really tough for me because the big thing will be 2 things. 1, can Anthony Richardson follow up what he did last week? And B, will Florida come out flat after such a big win last week? Those are the big questions. And 2, is Kentucky really there? Kentucky has been one of those sleeper football teams that's been getting better over the last couple of years, making a statement for themselves. I know I picked Utah to win in the Swamp last week. I'm going to pick Kentucky for this one for the sole reason of I think Florida comes out flat after such a statement win last week. I think they fall flat a little bit. Again, it's close. I think this is a barn burner like the game with Utah was. But I think Florida comes up just short this one, and Kentucky pulls out a big upset in the Swamp.
Man, I mean, I mean, you got great points there, man. I'm going to have to disagree with you, though. I'm going with the Florida Gators. I think after coming out with such a big win, I mean, I think the campus is buzzing right now. There's an energy around the team, around the stadium. It's back at home in the Swamp again. Like I said in our first part, it's an amazing atmosphere. It's loud. And you got to talk about it's a night game. Those atmospheres are always great. You got the weather. It's hot, humid. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm saying Florida's going to take it. I think it's going to be good. Really, really good game to watch. So
absolutely. We finally disagree on something. This podcast is actually entertaining for what? No, I'm kidding. Podcast is entertaining in general. But yeah, that'll be a fun game to watch. 7 p.m. on ESPN. A couple other things. USC, Stanford. This is probably two of the biggest names in the Pac-12. USC at Stanford. I think USC wins this one. I think they win it fairly handily behind Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley. But I think Stanford gives them a game. Again, it's Pac-12. There's always a decent game out there. This is going to be one of them, but I got USC winning this one.
Yep.
Cool. No objections. Yep, got it. Sweet.
Yep, no objections on that one.
We got Arizona State, Oklahoma State. I'm not going to click on that. Oklahoma State wins. Arizona State keeps it close for a while, but Spencer Sanders just looked too good to pick against him. Oklahoma State wins this one at home.
Big Nike. This will be interesting to watch here.
Yes, that'll be a fun one to watch. Michigan taking the L to Hawaii. No, I'm kidding. Michigan wins, obviously. An 0-2 Hawaii team, not a good start for them. Yeah, Michigan
look at the line. I mean, the over-under is 67. The line is Michigan at minus 51.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm saying it right now. Michigan drops a 60 bomb on Hawaii.
I can see it. And this will be a big test to see if Michigan can figure out who they want at quarterback, which we talked about in the first part of the podcast.
Are you? Hold on 1 second here.
Yeah.
Look back at that Hawaii-Michigan game.
Are you looking at the quarterback stats and he had 4 interceptions?
40 of 68.
How many passes did you attempt?
Almost 400 yards. Almost 400 yards.
Let's look at Hawaii here. Who'd they play last week? They played Western Kentucky last week, and my man's over here for Hawaii attempted 68 passes. No, maybe not. Maybe it was from that week. What week was it? Was it week 1? I don't know.
Why did it say that? Because that one has 22 of 33.
It could be. Oh, no, it was this week. 230 yards, 4 interceptions. Yeah. How do you have 4 interceptions against Western Kentucky? I mean, yeah, Hawaii's bad. Hawaii's just bad. My guess is the 40 for 68 was probably his entire passing total from the season.
Probably. That's probably what it was.
Yeah, let's go back here.
Against Michigan.
I'm going to go, no, hold on. I'm going to go back to this one for a second. Okay, Wake Forest and Vanderbilt, right? I think Vanderbilt wins. I got Vanderbilt going here. I think Vanderbilt starts out 3-0. I am fully on board with the Vanderbilt hype train, okay? It's a big meme right now. Vandy's winning the Natty, 63-10, starting against Hawaii. I'm going to join the hype train. You know what? Why not? I got Vandy beating Wake Forest. Let's have some fun. Let's see Vanderbilt do well for once. I'm all in.
Yeah, I was going to go with Wake Forest here. But here's the thing that's kind of I'm a little hesitant on is that it's at Vanderbilt. If it was at Wake Forest, I would take Wake Forest 100%.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
But it's hard. So look at the team stats. I mean, pretty close in points per game, 44 to 52.5. I mean, that's pretty close. And then the points allowed 10 to 20.5, really close there. Total yards 508 to 512.5. I mean, these are pretty even teams.
Yes.
Now, I think honestly, I'm still going to take Wake Forest. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think both teams are going to show out, but I think Wake Forest is just going to come in there. I think they're just going to have a little bit of edge at the end of the game. I think they're going to win by, I'm saying a field goal, maybe a touchdown. But, I mean, I could see them maybe getting the ball last. Maybe there's a turnover of some sort. They march down the field and get a last second field goal. Maybe that's what will happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game regardless, but I'm taking Wake Forest, but I think it's going to be a really close game. So I'm all for Vanderbilt though. If Vanderbilt pulls it out, good for them. I could definitely see it happen. My money's on Wake Forest right now.
Yeah, no, but I'm riding that Vandy hype train. Let's go Vanderbilt. Let's keep it moving. Last big game I want to go over, then we'll touch on a couple other individual games. Baylor and BYU. This game right here, I'm predicting this is going to be a shootout all the way to the end. I think Baylor takes the edge here, but I mean, I can see. I mean, what's the over under on this game? Any idea? Over under 53. 53 and a half points. So they think this is going to be a high scoring game. I 100% agree.
Hey, the spread right now has BYU -3.
Yeah. BYU favored over Baylor. I don't see that happening in my opinion. I think Baylor holds on, but this is going to be a game. This is going to come down to who throws the last touchdown pass, But yeah, I got Baylor winning this one. I think they're going to hit the over. I think they'll easily go over 53 and a half points combined. So that's my opinion. I'm not into sports betting, but I would bet the over in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Few other little games here we probably want to touch on. I'm going to dump into the Big Ten here for a minute. Just see if there's anything else we want to see here. Nothing major. Ooh, Iowa State. This is going to be a fun one. I'm picking Iowa State here. With how poorly that Iowa game was last week, I got to pick Iowa State here. If Iowa has to come out and make a huge statement here for me to get back with them. But yeah, I got Iowa State with this one.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, in the quarterback comparison, Iowa State just definitely takes the cake. I mean, the Williams of Iowa, 24 carries, 72 yards, pretty good. But Brock, 16 carries for 104 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And Hutchinson's got 8 receptions, 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. Points per game. Iowa only has 7 right now listed.
Iowa did not score a touchdown. They scored a field goal and 2 safeties to win that game. That's disgusting.
10-3. Look at the total yards, 469 to 166.
Yeah.
Yes, it is at Iowa. And Iowa has been known to make it a good game.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm saying Iowa State takes it. What's the over under right now? I want to see what that is.
40. And I guarantee 30 of those points are Iowa State easy.
And it's a 3.5 spread.
Yeah. Iowa favored, which is interesting. I will say that's interesting, but it's probably a testament to how well Iowa's played in past seasons. But I didn't see anything good from Iowa last week, so I got to pick Iowa State in that one.
Yeah.
Purdue, rebound game for us at Ross State. I think Purdue takes the dub here. Not a lot else to say there. Purdue gets their rebound win. Everybody else in the Big Ten, I think, handles business. Northwestern, Penn State, Illinois, I think, rebounds again after surprising loss to Indiana last week. I'll give them that. I didn't expect Indiana to win. I'll give them that. So respect to Indiana for being able to handle that game last week, 23-20. But yeah, I think Indiana continues. They go 2-0. As much as I hate to see Indiana better than Purdue, that's just the reality right now. It won't end up that way. Don't worry. It's not time to panic. IU is better than Purdue. That ain't happening, okay? It's been a while. We're handling business.
I agree.
Anything else? SEC. Auburn gets a win. LSU gets a rebound win. Mississippi State. This ought to be a fun one, too. Mississippi State at Arizona. Arizona had a big win last week against San Diego State. And a lot of people are saying that Mississippi State is really good quarterback play away from being good. And Will Rogers, if you look at his stats last week, 450 yards, 5 touchdowns, and interception. Will Rogers continue playing like that. Mississippi State not only wins this game, but I think they stay a contender in the SEC West against Alabama. So I got Mississippi State in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Mississippi State takes this one. I think that they could be one of those sleeper teams that no one's really counting on. They're always kind of one of those teams that's kind of there. Like if you mention them, they're like, oh, they're a pretty good team. But I think when you have a guy that's having 450 yards, 5 touchdowns, and an interception, there's nothing else to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But look at the receiving yards. You got Cowan. He's got 8 receptions, 150 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I don't think this Arizona team is a team to sleep on. I think Mississippi State's going to have to, prepare themselves for a fight.
Arizona looked really good last week.
And it is at Arizona as well.
Yes.
But I'm saying Mississippi State comes in, and I think they take care of business at Arizona.
Absolutely. Um, I think that's about it for most of the games that we got to pick for this week going forward. Um, so last week, I think I'll have to go back and look, but we made playoff predictions for last week. I think I had Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Utah. Um, I'm going to change that up a little bit. I think we keep our playoff predictions going week by week if you're down with that, kind of as the game fluctuates. Um, I'm going to have to move Georgia to my number one slot. Like after that performance last week, I think not only do they run the table, they beat Alabama this time in the SEC championship. I'm going to put Georgia at 1, Alabama probably at 2, and then Ohio State 3. And boy, I honestly don't know who I would put at 4 at this point because I don't think Michigan gets there. I think Michigan will probably end up losing to Ohio State in that game. Clemson, I think Clemson stumbles somewhere. I don't see them making it. The only team out of the Big 12 I could really see with a good shot if the play continues is Oklahoma State. But even then, like the only other team left at that point is A&M. I think because I think we talked about this last week, like A&M being that scenario where Alabama and Georgia both make it, and A&M just slides in as that 11-1 team as everybody else beats each other up. I think that's looking a lot more likely right now. That scares me a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. Yeah, I don't know exactly where I stand yet on the whole Georgia Alabama 1 and 2 situation yet. I think you make a good point. Georgia really showed out. Alabama hasn't had a challenge yet.
Yeah.
It'll be it'll be really interesting to see how the rest of the season goes and then into what should be the SEC championship. I mean,
yeah,
unless something crazy happens, that's what it's going to be. That'll be really interesting to see. Could definitely see Georgia at 1. Could also see them stay at 2. Ohio State, I mean, I think they're pretty locked in at 3 for now. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Michigan's. I mean, I could see Michigan getting back in, for a second straight year, but I don't think it's going to happen. Clemson could get in, same as I said last week, they could be.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to do it. But what I think might do it could be Florida. I think Ooh. I'm making an early prediction right now. Florida is making a run. Now we'll have to see how the rest of their season goes with the SEC, but I think that Florida is going to make a run. I'm making an early prediction. They're going to make a run. They're not done moving up yet.
Okay, I like it. Florida does have to play Georgia at some point in a couple weeks, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I could see Florida being that setup as like an A&M type team. They go 11-1, don't go to the SEC championship, but are sitting right there. That would be an interesting debate. I don't know if they play, but imagine if you have this scenario. You've got Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State in, and you've got an 11-1 Michigan team. You got an 11-1 Texas A&M team. You got an 11-1 Florida team. All sitting in there, no championship, but they're all sitting there over because everybody else beats each other up. Who do you put in at 4 at that point? I mean, that's going to be an interesting debate to see where that goes. At that point, I would probably have to put in A&M because, A&M will probably lose to Alabama and Florida will probably lose to Georgia. So those are going to be your 2 games you got to think about for them.
Yeah.
But boy, that's going to raise some interesting questions. Okay, Texas A&M does play Florida. They do play Florida. So come to that game, that could be a huge game if both teams stay on pace. Because I'm pretty sure that Texas will have their Alabama game out of the way, and I think Florida will also have their Georgia game out of the way. So this could be both one-loss teams fighting in there for a chance at the playoffs. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, boy, A&M's got a tough ride. A&M has a really tough ride.
Baylor's the other team I was looking at. Baylor could make a run at some point as well. It's so early and it's hard to tell, but man, yeah. I mean, it's going to be an exciting time of college football these next couple of weeks and months as we're moving down.
It is. Okay, so wow. So Florida has neutral site against Georgia and then at A&M back-to-back. That's going to be LSU, a week break, at Georgia, neutral, and then at A&M. This is how tough the SEC is, and Florida epitomizes it right here. Thankfully, they have a bye. They don't play LSU, Georgia, A&M back-to-back-to-back because that would just be insane. I would probably expect them to lose at least 2 of those. Yeah. But, again, this is going to be a fun year. I'm excited for week 2. Not as many big games, as big name games as week 1, but I think there's going to be some very, very fun ones. Alabama, Texas will be fun for a little bit. Carolina, Arkansas will be fun. Florida, Kentucky will be fun. And then, Mississippi State, Arizona, a lot of fun games. I'm excited for this week. I'm excited to get back with you next week and look at all the chaos that ensued. Let's imagine Alabama comes out and have lost next week. Do you know where we're going to be at this? Like this could explode come next week, and we could be looking at putting Texas in the college football playoff. You don't know. It's just that's the crazy world we live in. College football is back and better than ever, baby. We are in this. You know where College Game Day is next week? Did we look? Did we see where it is next week?
I did not.
I'm guessing it's the Alabama Texas game. Where is College Game Day? Week 2. Alabama, Texas. It is in Texas. Okay, got game days there. Texas is going to be feeling the hype. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And yeah, love to see it. This is going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for Saturday. And then podcast next week. You guys already know the drill. Any final thoughts, sir, before we hop out of here?
I don't think so. I'm excited for this second week, baby. Let's go.
Heck yeah, let's do it. All right, y'all. That's it for the From the Student Section podcast. Week 1 review, week 2 preview. We will see you guys back here next week. Enjoy the weekend of college football you've got coming ahead. It's going to be a big one. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Peace out.
Peace.